I gather a lot of information. But yeah, there's a couple of different approaches to trading. You don't have to do what I do. So there's more systematic mechanical stuff. There's more discretionary intuition. I'm a mix. I use my intuition in a systematic way, but you can be you can use pure intuition and still make money. It's just going to be a bit different and maybe a bit harder. Take a bit longer to get there. But yeah, okay, we'll go over the journal. So I kind of just have my pretty broad basic plan. No strategy will make you profitable over the long run, but you can make any strategy profitable through your intuition, discretion, all that stuff, that experience. You've cultivated that trading skill because market conditions are constantly changing, and you just need to be able to adapt to that. Because obviously, extremely directional conditions or volume ranging, maybe we're in a little bit of a downtrend, or a continuation of the overall direction. A bit of a range, more bearish, not as strong directionally bullish, but still directional there. Same here as well. So like being able to adapt to changing volume, changing conditions. When you've been training for a couple of years, most of the time that's the next thing to work on, because things are always changing. So yeah, the point of this journal, how I've set it up, is that all these are just like variables. Like these are like either conditions, so what pair it is, what time it is, what market conditions there are, and then there's reasons for maybe why I took the trade. So certain time frames aligning. If it's we'll go through the types a bit later. Type 3 is just a shift. Market or limit, just tracking stuff. I don't really focus on this, but I just track it. Correlation as well. Wick fills, if taking a trade and the candle doesn't have a bottom or top wick, how does that affect that? Days and months, and also times as well. So this is the journal. Yeah. So there should be a new icon at the bottom. Just click that. If you see, okay, it won't show up for me, but in the top right hand corner there should be like a duplicate. Okay, so you see like the top right, there's like the square thing to the left of the dots. Yeah, duplicate, and then that will copy it over to your Notion, and then you'll be able to get all the stuff. All good. So yeah, that's the thing with Notion, is that this is kind of like Excel, but I can add screenshots and stuff in it as well. This is, oh no, oh yeah, yeah. It's just like you can add like widgets to Notion, so it's yeah pretty good. But yeah, this is, you can add like screenshots so you can like visualize the trades, look at them back, and yeah, you can add pages with examples as well. So you create your own kind of like playbook, that sort of information. But yeah, that's a journal. That's kind of, you need to be like tracking or getting feedback. So feedback of how the plan's going in certain conditions, how well your approach is doing, and then how well you're executing on that approach. So it's about checking how your plan's going and how you're going. That's the main benefit. And then that kind of allows, when you're focused on journaling, you're in a bit of a forward testing, data collection mentality. When you're kind of focused on journaling trades, learning from each individual trade, I kind of like to think of it as, when I journal every trade, it allows me to not just look at each trade I take as a win or a loss, but more from the point that every trade I take, I'm collecting new data that can help me be more profitable. So if I win, okay, that's good. Most of the time I don't really learn that much from my wins. But if I lose, that's an amazing opportunity for me to improve. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe the conditions weren't good. I can look at that trade. Maybe I was looking for a certain thing that keeps like popping up. So like recently, if there's no wick, I kind of recognize that maybe that's more likely for that trade to be a loss, because volume's going against me. I shouldn't be trading for wick fills as much. So all these variables, tracking that, And then it simply becomes the process of doing more of what works and less of what doesn't. And when you're journaling, you either win a trade or you learn something new. So it's kind of like a win, you gain. And when you're focused on learning, you make it inevitable for you to achieve what you want out of trading. If you're focused on winning, you're more likely to make mistakes, because when you're focused on performance or on the outcome, which you can't control in any aspect of life, focusing on performance leads to performance anxiety. So the more you focus on it, the harder it kind of gets, because you're more attached to the outcome, the more likely you are to fuck it up. I can talk to a girl I'm not attracted to very easily, but if it's some 10 of 10, I start to stutter and make mistakes. And that's kind of also affected by risk as well. So risk management, you want it to be not too low that you're bored or complacent, but also not too high that you're overly anxious, fearful, so much worry or stress. There's going to be a window, and it is decided by your unique psychology as well. What's your risk management approach at the moment? And you kind of know your average win rate, average risk reward, 2.3, win rate. Yep. Okay. So that's easily profitable. So you have a profitable approach, but so the main issues are kind of risk and psychology, I'm guessing. Because I can go through my kind of technical approach, but it's only the peak. It's your behavior that's probably holding you back. Learning more about analysis won't actually like improve. I'll go through behavior. Yeah. How many trades do you take a day? Yep. So 3 to 4 trades per day. Yeah. And when do you kind of feel like that revenge trading, that feeling? When do you does that come after a couple losses, 1 loss, 2 losses? Yeah. I get that. Okay, we can go with that as well. So you know what you need to do. How do you kind of manage trades? Do you exit early? Do you set targets, partials? Do you kind of have a system? So you're kind of like fearful when it's in profit winning, and kind of hopeful when you're in drawdown it's going against you. Yeah, yeah, same. I had to struggle with that for a long time. So you have good awareness. You need to do that's the first step. Like, having awareness of these behavior patterns, because that's kind of the foundation of change. So you know what you need to do. It's just doing it, which is the hard part. How do you kind of close the gap there? And we can go through a couple of tools around that. But first we'll kind of go through the reality of your system. What does profitable trading look like under your system? It's good that you have all this information, this data, because it's a lot easier then to make decisions or set expectations, have beliefs around execution of that. So you're already ahead of most people in that regards, 80% at least. So win reward and win ratio and risk to reward, there's always going to be a trade-off there. The more you target, the less likely you are to win. It's not a bad thing. You need wins to be confident, to make money, but you also need losses to keep you in check, to improve. So there's a balance there. One's not necessarily good, one's not necessarily bad. It's kind of how you look at them. A bit of cognitive reframing, but losses aren't pleasant. It hurts the ego, it hurts the account, especially on prop firms. So every time you take a loss, it's a setback. You're setting off that goal, having to be more patient, and it's difficult because it's so target or goal focused in prop firms. That's what kind of makes it harder. So around 45% win rate, it's around here. So let's say it's 45%. You have a 99.6% chance of 6 losses in a row in a 50 trade period. So that's the reality of you trading profitably. Is that likely? You're taking 3 to 4 trades a day. So every month, this can happen. So yeah, when being aware of that and seeing how it affects your trading, this is the hard part, going through this. These losing periods, these losing streaks, and not changing anything. If it's 40%, maybe you're more likely to do 7 or 8 losses in a row. So like 45, 2.4, That's really profitable. It's a really profitable system. Even if it's a bit lower, so like 44% win rate. I think that was close to what you're saying. That's still profitable. Over 100 trades, you make 47%, which is really good. But inevitably, if you want to be profitable, you have to get good at going through this. This is the hard part. Execute like the analysis, the trading, the analysis of the strategy isn't the hard part. The technique isn't the hard part. This is. Would you think? Would you be able to go through that without changing anything? Yeah, yeah. So you have around, let's say, 45% win rate, pretty close to 50. So every time you take a trade, even if it looks amazing, you're flipping a coin. Every time you take a trade, you're flipping a coin. You might know that, but you don't believe that. That's kind of where that cognitive dissonance comes from. And prop firms will make you focus on winning, not really learning. But how do we kind of get around this? How do we accept that? With looking to change, improvements. So you're kind of aware of this issue, but how do we kind of make changes? You want to change, but it's kind of like, I want to eat healthier, I want to go to the gym, but I keep on breaking that. I set a plan to go to the gym. Tomorrow I wake up, I don't really feel like it, and then I don't do it. How do we do that? It's a couple of different things. So being intentional, focusing on, I guess, if you're trying to improve something, especially in your case, we're not trying to improve everything. We're just going to focus on one thing. It's a lot easier to improve something when you just focus on that. You can give a lot more energy. If you try to improve everything, you go in different directions. If you just focus on one thing, it's a lot easier to improve because you stack up those lines. So let's say your main issue, your number one issue is that revenge trading. When you lose, you're more likely to make mistakes. And is this kind of in the same session or from like day to day? Yeah. When you take 3 to 4 trades a day. Yeah. So there's a couple different ways that we can. So how ideally, how do you want to manage your trades? Like you have a journal. You kind of like you've tracked a bunch of data. If you just set a target, set a take profit, set a stop loss, and you just let it go, you didn't do anything, how would that you think that improve or make your system worse? So I would say there's a couple different ways. There's some. So let's say we can do some things to maybe like bandage it, and then we can like do some things to target like the reason, the foundation of why you're having that issue. So like some band-aid reasons that you can slap on, you just do straight away, 1 trade a day. That wouldn't probably feel good. It'd be a bit boring and patient, but it'd avoid you from, even if you just take 1 loss, then you have to take an hour break, step away. When you're in, when you have like negative emotions come up, push at the charts, when you break that cycle, when you just disconnect, it's because like, you don't think, you're sitting in the chair, you take a loss, and then you're immediately wanting to enter another trade. If you just stand up, take a walk, go somewhere else, that'll immediately make it easier. You gain a bit of awareness, but it's a bit of a band-aid. Or you should just take 1 trade a day, and you could just try stick to that. You could set and forget, take that trade, close everything, come back the next day. You don't know if you win or lose until the next day. Actually, I wouldn't say that, until like a couple hours later. So, but a bit later in the day, you open your charts, you look at that, review, journal with that 1 trade. So take a trade, close the charts, come back in a couple hours later. That's one option. That's kind of a more band-aid, but I'm going to give you a couple of different options. So 1 trade, set and forget. I know you don't want to do that. It'd be difficult to like do that. You'd even need discipline to do that, to stick to that. But this issue is kind of stemming from outcome-focused thinking. You need that certainty. You want to be in control, especially in a prop firm account. When in trading, it's all about being uncertain and surrendering to the markets. So how do we get that? How do we flip that switch? Your psychology is the foundation of your psychology, is your beliefs and your expectations. When you're on a prop firm challenge, let's say you're up 3%, and you think of it, okay, I'm going to a trading session, I'm up 3%. oh, if I take a win, I'll be up 5%, 6%, depending on how big the win is on the day. And then I'm only one more trade away from passing the prop firm. You're visualizing that. If I do this, if I just make this one win, I'll be up this much on that account. Do you do that? Yeah, I did the. I do the. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so we have like foundations based on beliefs and expectations. And you're expecting to win each day because you're kind of visualizing that. And we'll go over kind of because I did the exact same thing, especially on prop firms. But this is very. I like it. So like you can use like depends on where you live, brokers, all that stuff. I like it because you can like maybe like trade a small account with high leverage, build up a buffer, and then start to decrease the risk, deposit more money, and like compound that account. So prop firms aren't the holy grail. They aren't. I feel like you put prop firms on the pedestal. This is the only way I can make money off trading if I get funded. There's a million different ways. I get that. So your current thinking is very outcome oriented. You have to win. It's all based on the outcome. We want to get over to more process based. How do we do that? So you've set that expectation. You're visualizing yourself winning, being up on a certain amount on the accounts. How would that feel? Feels pretty good. Now I'm up 5%. I'm one trade away from passing. That's all setting expectations as a visualization. So how do we do that? It's pretty simple to fix that. We just do the opposite. Instead of visualizing a positive outcome, we do the opposite. We visualize the negative one. So in performance psychology, visualization, mental rehearsal are such massive things. Even in basketball, if you visualize yourself shooting hoops, you actually improve that skill more compared to if you were to do it physically. It's like a science. I can't remember, but stuff like that. So visualization is a massive tool, and it's a foundational thing of psychology. It goes into cognitive behavioral therapy, all that sort of stuff. This is like a foundational thing. So how do we use that to work on this expectation? So your actions are affected by your thoughts, which are affected by your expectations, which are affected by your beliefs, and that affects your performance massively. So you're visualizing the positive outcome. If you were to visualize the negative one, expecting to lose when you're going into a day, because I expect to lose, I still have a pretty high win rate. I target less than you. My wins are like 60, 70% depending on the setup. I still expect to lose because when you're visualizing the positive outcome, if you don't get that positive outcome, yes, you have 1 times the pain from the loss. You've lost that progression on that account. I hate setbacks in anything in life. So 1 times the pain, it's a bit of a setback. But when you've done all this positive visualization, you've created that fantasy in your head. You've set that expectation that you're going to win, and it's going to feel really good when you get there. Instead of it just being 1 times the pain, now your expectation is not being met. That fantasy is being ripped away from you. You're doubling that pain. It's double. I find is actually probably closer to 3 times the pain. Expectations being ripped away from you. That's the thing that in anything in life, if something doesn't meet your expectation, it causes you pain. So this is leading to a lot of your problems, and it led to a lot of my problems, especially with prop firms. That visualization. So catching yourself in that moment when you start to visualize, that can be a good trigger to do the opposite. What is the opposite? So I have it in my routine, not just in prop firms or on personal accounts, where at the start of the day, in the morning, I normally meditate in the morning. I just added this at the end of my meditation where I visualize in as much detail as possible the worst possible outcome. So let's say my trade, I normally wait for a shift in structure. I'm visualizing that happening. I visualize myself entering that trade. I'm clicking my mouse. I'm placing my stop loss, my take profit, and then that trade's kind of maybe going in my direction. I'm visualizing the candles forming. I'm feeling pretty good. Maybe it starts to reverse. Visualizing that as well. How am I feeling? I'm focusing on my breath. and then hits my stop. Visualizing my count being negative that percentage. How am I feeling? So I rehearsed the worst possible outcome. Maybe it stops me out and then goes my direction. I'm reversing the worst possible outcome. I'm calm. I'm in a calm state of mind. Mental rehearsal. I'm training the mind to be okay, to be calm when this happens. I'm setting an expectation through experience that this is okay. This would be a great opportunity to learn cognitive reframing. So those two things. Now it's only maybe 1 times the pain of the loss. That's a bit more manageable. I find when I've set that expectation, most of the time it's 0.5 times the pain. I'm more okay with that outcome because I know it's part of the process. I've set that expectation. I've set that decision that like I want to be good at taking this loss and not changing anything. Accepting the reality of your system that this is going to happen a lot because 44% win rate, it's a profitable system, but you're going to lose more often than you win. That's the reality of your system. Maybe you need to win more often, and maybe you need to target less. I can't say. That's another option. But this is kind of affecting the the deeper stuff. So your beliefs, your expectations. This is more behavior. A bit higher up is look at the bad stuff. Always flip it as opportunities. Flipping that. Just go over that. Your success in trading, like in anything in life, is based on your relationship to suffering. That's a quote from Tom Hugard, Best Loser Wins. He's been trading for like 17 years. So maybe you exit. So you exit your winning trades early. Fail to accept. Cut your losses. You average down to those. Maybe sometimes you hesitate. Over trades. Too big or too small. All these sort of stuff. This is what stops people from being profitable. This goes back to the behavior. This is the stuff that is stopping you from closing the gap from, you know what you need to do, but doing it is the hard part. How do you kind of make mistakes? So we're motivated by emotions to change. So like when someone has a severe health condition, they're more likely to treat their health more seriously. They're like get into a better diet. They haven't been eating properly for like the last 20 years, but then they have a heart attack and then they completely change their life and shift because of that emotion. So maybe you're going to keep making this mistake until you've had enough disgust. I can't keep doing this. I can't handle it myself. I got to the point where I just kept on making the same mistake and I couldn't change, that I just got fed up. There's so much negative emotion, so much disgust with myself that I had no other option but to change. Maybe you're not there yet and there's not enough negative emotion. Think of it, you're flipping a coin. So it's a little bit less than 50%, but you're still flipping a coin every time you trade. Do you flip a coin and when it lands on heads and tails, let's say you flip a coin, lands on heads, you said tails, it doesn't land on your answer, do you get angry? Not really. So yeah, most people don't lose a flip a coin game. It's the discomfort and the pain, the ego. I think maybe you're trying to predict the markets instead of taking probability-based setups. That can be another thing. But the reality is, with your current system, you're going to lose a lot. You're going to lose a bit more than you win. Maybe that's not for you. Maybe trading is all about finding your niche, business, a system that suits your psychology. If you're having if you're having like a lot of issues executing upon the system, maybe there's some disconnect there. Maybe you need a bit of a higher win rate. That's more of a band-aid fix. We can go. That's more maybe Brett Steenbarger. So that's changing your system to suit your psychology or psychological issues. If you go more this side, this is you and your human behavior. Most people, we feel the pain of a financial loss 250% more than the satisfaction of a win. So that loss aversion, risk aversion really fucks with us. Out of 43 million trades, 25,000 traders, 65% of the trades were winners. So most people won more than they lost. But they won half as much. So you have kind of the opposite of that, which is good. It's just recognizing that you're going against your human nature and that's difficult. It's going to be how well you can handle that pain. The pain's going to be less if you temper your expectations through visualization. Just try that every morning. It's practicing. You're preparing your mind. It's mental preparation. The more prepared you are, the easier everything is going to be. Technical analysis, that's easy. You've prepared for that, but you're not mentally prepared. You're kind of mentally fucking yourself by expecting the positive outcome when you can be more prepared by doing the opposite of that. That helped me a lot when I flipped that, because I kept on mentally fucking the shit out of myself. Flipping the expectation. Setting a belief that if I just focus on taking the best trades and executing my plan to the best of my ability, then it's inevitable that it'll pass. It doesn't have to be today, this week, this month that I have to win. It's inevitable that I keep improving that skill. I take better trades over time, and then I'm not trying to win, I'm trying to take the best trades. Detaching yourself from the external reward is difficult, but it's the only way to trade sustainably over time. I was like you. I still am at some times. It's difficult. It's a constant struggle, but not focusing on the external reward. You executing your system to the best of your ability, executing your plan to the T, that's the reward. Because the reward is, the benefit of that is that when you execute your plan perfectly or to the best of your ability, you're doing all the stuff you know you need to do. There's two rewards. Reward one is that when it's going well and you're winning, your balance increases, you get profits. Reward number two, if it's not going well, let's say you're still executing your plan to the best of your ability, you're doing everything you know you need to do, but you're still losing. Number two is that you're getting that character, you're getting that experience of doing that work, executing, even though things are going bad. So don't do something because it's easy, but doing it because it's hard, because you know it's hard, but you know you need to do it. You're going to get so much benefit character-wise out of that over the long run as well. So there's always going to be a reward. It doesn't have to be external. Focusing more on the internally rewarding yourself for the best trading positions, consistency. Also, I find if I'm closing trades early, if I'm averaging down, that can also stem from a lack of confidence. Do you kind of doubt your system if you take multiple losses in a row? Do you just get angry at the outcome then? But like trying to fight with the markets? Yeah. So I would say I got to the point in my trading career where you have really good specific skills. Now it's not about that. It's about, so I found I knew what I needed to do. I just couldn't do it. If I wanted to master trading, I first had to master myself. If I wanted to become a better trader, I had to become a better person. So working on that stuff outside of trading, less trading, more preparation. Other aspects of your life. Is trading your passion? Yeah. And that actually kind of makes it difficult. Makes it harder than it needs to be because you have so much more attachment to the outcome. You need it to work. I'm like, when I'm obsessive about this. So that makes it harder. Because the more you chase something, most of the time, the further it runs away. I found a couple of different ways to do that. So I diversified my own life. I focused on other things. I tried to be more intentional about trading taking up less of my time and being not as big of a part of my life, doing other things. So diversify your mental capital like you do in investments. That can help with that as well. Or it's just, yeah, I'd say you're taking 3 to 4 trades a day. Trading is emotional. It's difficult, stressful, lots of focus. 3 to 4 trades. Maybe just try 1 to 2 and just stick to having a max of 2 trades a day. That's what I do, max of 2 trades a day. Sometimes I might break that for better or for worse, but setting that intention of I'm just trying to stick to 1 to 2 trades a day, I find I trade best when it's just 1 to 2 trades. I trade even better when it's just 1 trade. Because, yeah. And it's like, because you have limited willpower each day. It's finite. So you're going to have more willpower on this trade. On the second trade, you're going to have a bit less. On the third trade, maybe you're more likely to make mistakes because you have less willpower. On the fourth, even less. Now you're just brain switched off. I'm seeing red. I'm just making this money back, even if it blows up my account. So it's kind of disconnecting that loop from walking away, switching off the computer, doing something else. The only rules I have really on mechanical stuff is around risk management and limiting my downside in that regards. Because yes, trading's great. It's unlimited ways to make money. There's no rules, but there's also unlimited ways to lose money. Yeah. So it's trading, successful trading. The best traders have the goal of self-mastery, and the difficult part is fighting your humanness, that pain response, that behavior. That's kind of the difficult part. Yeah. All this, so yeah. So when you take profits early, it's because it's uncertain. That's instant gratification. So instead of delaying that gratification with that uncertainty that it might turn into a loser, you take that profit early and it feels good in the moment. Even though over the long run, or even though maybe a couple of seconds after that, it feels a bit worse. Delaying gratification in other aspects of your life can help. But yeah, I found, so visualization, working on those expectations. If you want to gain more awareness and clarity or that sort of stuff, looking to just meditation, journaling, those things help you work on your behavior. Because you have the technical approach, it's just your behavior now. And there's lots of ways to target this. Everyone in the trading space talks about this. Rarely many people talk about this. Maybe it's like psychology, but we're going like to the deeper part. It's more your awareness, your meta skills, your metacognition. And another thing, another tool. I know I'm giving you a lot of information. It's a bit over the place. I'm trying to find a more systematic way of organizing this. But emotional control, you can't control them. So when you lose a trade and that pain comes up, maybe you feel that revenge, you want to fight the markets, get that money back, get back up on that account. It's uncomfortable. You're trying to control the mind with the mind in that situation, and it's lead you to taking those negative actions. You're fighting against that feeling. When an emotion comes up, accepting that, sitting with that, in as much detail as possible, trying to feel as angry as possible will actually lead you to be a bit less angry. When you're focusing on that, being aware of that, accepting it for what it is, that's not easy in the moment. Meditation can help bring that awareness, visualization, setting expectations, but you're aware of that pattern that's happening. You can put rules in place to cut that off, like taking one trade a day, or closing the charts, but that's kind of a band-aid solution. Doing that internal work is going to make it easier for you to have that shift in behavior. It's probably better over the long run as well. The only holy grail in trading is nothing to do with strategy. It's trading in the flow state. You're confident and you're carefree. You don't really care. Nothing's fearful. No market movements are hostile to you. That's the holy grail. That's when you can trade at your best. And yeah, so you also see that when you start to get emotional, they present themselves, emotions, as physical sensations first. If it's kind of more fear, maybe you start to sweat a bit more. If it's kind of anger or discomfort, maybe your heart rate starts increasing, your breathing gets shallower. So if you want to control the mental with the physical, focusing on your breath, I guarantee you, if you take a losing trade, if you're down in a trade, if you're in drawdown, your breath is going to get shallower. I guarantee you that's going to happen. Next time that happens, be aware of that. Because in this situation, it's a double whammy. That is leading to some emotion, but you're getting less oxygen to the brain, to the frontal lobe, the decision-making area, which leads you to make more emotional decisions. So that's another thing. If you just focus on your breathing a bit more depth, that's another thing that affects that as well. Maybe this, just focusing on deepening your breath, that doesn't help the emotions that much. Maybe it gives you enough awareness to take a step back and go for a walk, breaking that cycle. So these are all tools to use. I can't say which ones will work best for you because it's kind of unique. But so we'll just kind of recap. So it's kind of the base of the behavior is beliefs, diversifying your life, focusing less on trading. It might seem a bit weird. I first got my payout when I was addicted to video games. My life was diversified. I wouldn't say for the better, but it still had that mental capital diversified. But yeah, then it kind of goes to more tool-based stuff or protocols where it's more meditation and visualization, setting expectations, focusing and being intentional on the internally rewarding yourself, disconnecting yourself from the external. That takes practice. And then if you want to go a bit further up, kind of a bit more technique, taking 1 trade a day, 2 trades at the max, setting a trade, closing the laptop and walking away. Maybe that's an option for you. Has worked for some people. Are you able to actually do that consistently? Stuff like that. Yeah. That's why. We target the lowest stuff. Maybe that doesn't work for you. Maybe you can delete all this stuff off your phone, or maybe you can have. Yeah, I find that helps as well. And you can also set like accountability. Accountability partners. That's also a thing about helping people change. But also maybe you're also a little bit addicted to the sensation of winning or being up on an account, or like progress in trading. Trading is very addicting in that sense, because it's an uncertain outcome which fires up your dopamine levels. Gambling is so addictive because it's uncertain. Trading is similar to that, even though we're putting probabilities in our favor, but those still areas of the brain light up. So that's also a hard thing. When gamblers are losing, they're likely to try and make that back, which leads to bigger losses. So similar things in that. It's more kind of addiction. What helps target that is meditation. It kind of strengthens the parts of the brain that addiction preys on. It's kind of like more science-based tools and psychology, that sort of stuff. Because you're trying to just bring your thoughts back to the internal. Bring your focus back to the internal, because all these things are external, causing you discomfort. Pain, unhappiness, discomfort is always going to be coming from external expectations, all that sort of stuff. So if you're able to focus more on the internal, that's going to lead to improving that lower layer as well of the behavior. Maybe the point, I think you're at the point where if you want to master trading now, if you want to break through that thing, it's now a bit more about that self-mastery. Improvement in this is not about being perfect or taking a step, like going in a straight line. This isn't improvement. Improvement's kind of like fucking up less over time. So maybe you have a good month and then you fuck up a couple of days, or you have a good week. Maybe you have a good couple of months and then you have a bad week, where you like your improvement and then you go like that, go back again. Maybe it's a bit worse, kind of go back again, but you just want maybe it to be less bad of a fuck up, or like longer time in between. That's kind of improvement. You're gonna make mistakes because we're human, but that's kind of where improvement is. All good. Do you kind of have any kind of more questions around that? This is what makes it hard. Just recognizing that as well, cutting yourself some slack. Yeah, you're on the right. I find having multiple accounts makes it a bit easier because less accounts, you have more accounts, so each account means less. And so I passed phase 1 of a prop firm. I passed it just as like DX trade, all that stuff was happening. So I had to take a couple trades on the new platform. It's such a shit platform. So I'm not trading my phase 2 at the moment. I'm just trading personal. I'm just waiting for new platforms to be added. So having multiple accounts kind of allows you to have that more independence of that outcome as well. Yeah, all good. And keep me updated if you have any questions. Just send me any questions you have on Discord, and I can help you out. Yeah, are you in the Discord server? I'll send you the link for the Discord. There's the link. I'll give you the role when you join as well. Yeah. Yeah, so if you have any questions, and also keep me updated on how everything's going as well. Best of luck with your challenge, and yeah, all good. It's good. I was with Smart Prop Trader. I'm with Smart Prop Trader. It's SPT. I initially got funded on Trader Central Fund, which got acquired by Alpha Capital Group. Then I went over. They're pretty good. I heard all good things about them. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, DX Trade is, oh my god, so bad. Yeah, all good. But yeah, best of luck. Be good to hear from you soon. Thanks. Bye.